Today I'm going to teach you how to edit a music video from start to finish, whether you're just starting out or you've been a pro editor for years. I promise, guarantee you will learn something from this video that you did not know before. Let's get straight into it. In this video, I've broken music video editing down into a simple 3 easy step process, which are collection, unification, and modulation, short for I'm sorry, had to. Step 1, open your video editing software. Today I'm gonna be using Premiere Pro. All you have to do is just go to your home and you create that new project and you name it whatever you want it to name. Then you'll get to a page that looks something like this. By the way, I modify my windows just because I work better. It's all the same process, just don't get confused by my setup. Anyway, so you just shot your music video, you have all these raw clips. What am I supposed to do with this? So first up, we have our music track. Let's go ahead and just label that orange. So we know that that's our music track over there. So you have B-roll and A-roll. A-roll are your performance shots. These are where the artist is like looking at the camera, they're performing, they're singing, doing whatever. And then you have your B-roll shots. Now these shots are like, shots that are not of your artist, like maybe the car, maybe like the studio, or maybe you have like just other small details. That's what I usually like to think of B-roll. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I go throughout all my clips and I label them. So I'm going to label all my clips as A-roll and B-roll. So if you're on Mac, you can do what I'm doing, which is I just right click it and I tag it red, or I believe it's Control 1, and then you can tag it easy like that. But I'm just going to go ahead and tag all my A-roll clips first. All right, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, I've labeled all my A-roll shots in this red color, and then pretty much everything else is not red, is a B-roll shot. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my Premiere Pro. I'm going to go to my media bin, which would be in the bottom left-hand corner right here if you're on the standard workspace right here. So you go to this media bin, you right click it, and you're gonna create new bin. And I'm gonna call this A-roll, and then I'm gonna make another bin, and I'm gonna call this one B-roll. And you pretty much guessed it. We're just going to import all of our B-roll clips. So I'm gonna sort it by the tags. I'm going to select all my A-roll clips and drag and drop into my A-roll bin. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the B-roll. Now we have our B-roll and A-roll sorted out. Let's go ahead and start with the editing process. Now really quickly, I do want to let you know about a hack that will do all this process for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Window, I'm going to hit Extensions, and I'm going to click Auto Edit. Now this is a third-party plugin, so it's not going to come built inside of Premiere Pro, but this edits music videos for you from scratch. And as you can see, it's already organized into the B-roll and the A-roll shots. And all I have to do, as opposed to like importing these in bins in my folder, is I'm just going to go select all my A-roll shots like this, and then I hit open, and then I just select my B-roll shots like this. Then of course I add my music file as well, and then once I hit continue, and then it'll automatically create the sequence for me, and then I can begin with the editing process. But I've linked to the auto edit plugin below, but if you don't have it, it's really easy. You can do this all manually. We're just going to create a new sequence by going to File, New, and we're going to hit Sequence, and then we're just going to call this one Main Timeline and hit OK. Now I'm going to put auto edit over here in the corner. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to those A-roll clips that we selected in that bin, drag and drop my entire bin right here into the Finder. If you get this warning, it's basically saying that, oh, maybe your composition was in 4K, but you imported a clip that's 1080p. Do you want us to change the entire composition to 1080p? I'm just going to say keep existing settings because I already like the way it's like. And if you want to change your sequence settings, by the way, so maybe you want it a 4K video or you want a 1080p video, you go to Sequence, you hit Sequence Settings, and then from there you can change everything. So let's say I just want to make everything 4K, just to make it easy. 3840. I type 3840 over here in this frame size, and then I believe it's 2160 as 4K dimensions. Look at that. I know 4K dimensions off the top of my head. That's how you know you're a video editor. And then there we go. Boom. Okay, so we have all our performance takes imported in a line, straight linear line right here. The goal is to get them something looking like this, which was the auto edit plugin made for us. But it's really easy to make it manually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the second clip. I'm going to drag it up one layer and the audio down one layer, and then I'm going to drag it all the way to the left so it's on top of the other first music video clip. And then we're just going to repeat this process for basically all our clips until we get all of our performance takes. Now the reason why we want to do this is because this will make it incredibly easy for us to alternate between performance shots. Now you can see why I prefer to do the vertical workspace. So I'm going to change it back to vertical columns. Yeah, there you go. Now we can see everything on a much larger view. So I'm pretty much just dragging all of my performance takes above each other, and voila, there you have it. So now if we play it out, you can see there's incredible mismatch. All the song layers are, different, unsynced. Now, the way you synchronize them is you can, of course, just go ahead and listen to them manually and then try to line up some certain hi-hats or the chorus or whatever. So there's an easy way that you can do this automatically inside of Premiere Pro. You just select all of these like this, or you can hit the Command A to automatically select everything. You right click it, and then you hit Synchronize over here. Now, it's going to take you to this page. Make sure you just select Audio Track Channel 1, and then you can just hit Mix Down. And I'm going to hit OK, and then boom. And automatically it's synced all the takes it could. So you see it gave me this error right here. It says audio synchronization failure. If you get this, don't worry, because it actually does sync the first few takes. But what this is saying is that one or more clips had audio that wasn't loud enough, so we couldn't tell where the song was. So that's okay, because usually it'll only be like 1 or 2 clips that didn't get synced. But I do have 4 clips that already are synced, and then that way I can just go ahead and line these 2 clips up with the rest. And I like to listen to a specific part of the song. So maybe the beat drop. Let's find the beat drop. Okay, so I know the beat drop is right here. So I'm gonna click the timeline. I'm gonna click the M key on my timeline, and boom, automatically you get what's called a marker in Premiere Pro. That's where the beat drop starts. So now I'm going to drag these 2 clips over here that didn't get synced, and I'm gonna listen for the beat drop. Okay, so it looks like right here is the beat drop. Yeah, because we played everything on his phone, so no wonder Premiere was not able to listen to the song and hear it properly. It wasn't loud enough. So now I'm gonna do the same thing for this other clip. I'm gonna listen for the beat drop. Boom. Okay, so now I have 2 markers exactly at the beat drop. I'm gonna line this one up with the other marker, and then I'm going to take both of these clips and line it up with the first marker. So let's go over here and make sure it's lined up with this first marker. Awesome. Okay, so now it looks like all of our music tracks are synced. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to finally add in my music track, so that way we're not being messed up or like distorted by the actual song track of the music. Then I'm just gonna make sure I select these bottom 4 layers that were able to get synchronized, and then select the song as well. And I'm just going to right click it one more time, and I'm going to hit synchronize so that everything is completely synced. And boom, just like that, there we go. We have the music track, the performance takes all synced, and now we're ready to get to cutting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hit this S key right here on the bottom music layer. So all we can hear is the actual MP3 file of the actual song, not all the other like audios of these tracks. Moving on to the second step of unification. Now this process is actually just lining up the timeline. We already imported everything, we've already organized it, but how do we actually edit it in a way that's engaging, it's compelling, it's gonna be like a proper music video and have flow and structure to it? Well, that's what unification is about. So let's dive right in. So you can either do it this way by grabbing your razor tool. You can go ahead and select these, make cuts. You can delete this layer, and then maybe you can go ahead and cut this next part, and then you can maybe cut the bottom layer and then trim this part. And you can do this for the entire track, but it will take a lot of time. So let's, for example, go back to the auto edit sequence that we made earlier. You can go to the sequence by clicking on the sequence tabs right here in the top left-hand corner. That's how it works in Premiere. And then, as you can see, we have all of our takes. They're synchronized already. And what we would do is we just go back to the auto edit plugin, and you see it's telling us to synchronize it. We hit next, and it will just automatically detect the beat of the song. So it's going to tell me it's 93.75 BPM. And then I could just go ahead and adjust the settings. Like, how do I want it edited? Do I want it edited in like a staircase pattern? Do I want it manual, or do I want it completely random? I'm just going to say for this example, let's do some stairs, and then I will do variation, which will adjust the pacing of my cuts. And then all I have to do is I just go ahead and click markers and proceed to the B-roll. Now it's going to ask me how much B-roll camera shake do I want to remove. Now the problem with a lot of B-roll clips, which we actually haven't even gotten to yet in this video, is that you get a lot of B-roll clips, you're shooting these small details, and then you move your camera because you think there's another cool shot over here. Or you're shooting this scene, and then maybe you turn your camera off, but before you get to turn your camera off, you're still pointing it down, it's moving around, it's a lot of shake, and all those parts of the video are imported into your timeline. You now have to go ahead and trim those out. What I'm going to say is I think I was moving my camera a lot. I'm going to say there's a lot of shake in these B-roll clips, and I'm going to check, yes, we are editing a music video, and then I just hit trim B-roll. And so what it's automatically going to do is it's going to trim all the shaky, blurry, bad, unusable parts of my B-roll. It's of course going to take a couple seconds to load, so we're just going to go ahead and wait this out, and boom, instantly it has automatically created a sequence where it has trimmed all my B-roll to my timeline. And as you can see in the main timeline over here, it is beginning to automatically edit my music video to the beat of the song. It's just importing cuts at all the beat cuts, and then it's added B-roll clips at like every other 5th clip, I believe. So it's just like spaced out evenly, and voila, just like that, we have an automatic music video completely ready for us and fully edited. So that's the fastest way that I recommend doing it, instead of just going through and like manually selecting these clips. The auto edit plugin just helps me particularly edit really fast, especially if I have a lot of music videos to edit. It's also just super easy to use as a beginner, but if you don't have the auto edit plugin, you want to do it the manual route, that's totally cool as well. The one thing I just recommend doing is just making sure that you have scene variety. One of the keys to having good music videos is variety. You want to have scene variety, because the second that it starts getting boring or stale, the viewer is going to click off. It's 2025, there's different retention model span. Human attention spans are lower than ever. You have to keep your music video engaging. So the way I do that is I just keep the 2-second rule of thumb in mind, which is like every 2 seconds, it should probably cut to another clip clip. So you can see I'm gonna cut to this next clip over here, and then I'm gonna go in order of the actual clips I imported. So that's how I'm pretty much editing, is like a staircase pattern. And the staircase pattern is super helpful is because I know exactly which clips I've already shown, and then I can literally just repeat this entire process for the next rotation. And then that way I have a music video that's automatically edited and it rotates throughout each clip evenly. So I would just say continue to do this throughout the entire music video. Grab your razor tool and get to work, get to chopping. You can just go ahead and really easily cut all of these clips just like that. And then I would say select these remaining 6 clips, drag them, and then do the same thing for the next part. So you want to make sure that there's just enough even cutting throughout your entire music video, and it's a really easy way to get a rough cut of your music video. I wouldn't say that this is the final edit, but it definitely helps save a lot of time and get to a rough cut, because sometimes we overthink a lot. As creatives, it's really easy to get in the pattern habit of thinking like, oh, this is not perfect yet, or maybe this clip would work good. We analysis paralysis. So sometimes I just like to do this staircase pattern, which is completely random, and you know, sometimes I just end up randomly picking a great shot, or because I already have the flow of the music video after I edit the staircase, I know, oh, this clip is good, so maybe I should use this clip for this lyric. And that's pretty much how my timeline looks when I'm going through my music videos. So you can do this manually, like I said, or of course you can get the auto edit plugin, which does it automatically for you. And I already did the B-roll for us too, which we didn't even get to that step in our tutorial process, but I just think it's really cool. Let me know what you think about the auto edit plugin. Now, for those of you who don't have auto edit for our timeline, how do we add B-roll? What's your approach to this? So what I like to do for B-roll is I like to use the pancake method. So I'm gonna go to file, I'm gonna hit new, I'm gonna create a new sequence, I'm gonna call this one B-roll, and I'm gonna create this in a new timeline over here. Now I'm gonna go back to that bin that we made earlier in our media library. I'm gonna drag and drop all of our B-roll clips, just the entire bin, and it's gonna ask us if we want to keep the existing settings. We're gonna hit change sequence settings to 4K. All of our B-roll clips imported into this timeline. However, like I said, the problem is that a lot of these parts are pretty shaky. You know, I'm kind of like just still setting up the camera. Maybe I'm moving around to a different angle. So what I recommend doing for these parts is you just have to cut them. I set a hotkey of A at the slice tool, so all I have to do is hit A on my keyboard and I automatically create a cut like that. So what I do is I just create those cuts and then I delete them. And also another good trick to know is ripple editing. On my keyboard, it's W and Q. All I do is hit W and it automatically cuts to this last clip. So for example, this clip over here, I don't like how it's still kind of shaky in the beginning. I'm gonna hit Q and it automatically trims that first part out. Really quickly, since I'm here, I'll just show you how I make keyboard shortcuts. And the key to the keyboard shortcuts is not just using the standard ones that come in Premiere Pro, but customizing them and making your own to your own keyboard preferences. So go to Premiere Pro and then you hit keyboard shortcuts over here, and then you can just literally search for any tool. So let's say, for example, ripple editing. That ripple edit tool is the shortcut B. But what if that doesn't just resonate with me? Or what if I envision the ripple edit tool to be R? I can just go ahead and delete this and then click R, which I'm not going to do because I already have R set to my speed duration, but you get the point. You go in, customize these, it will seriously help you edit way faster than you've ever edited before. Like, you have to be using keyboard shortcuts. It's one of the one things I wish I would have started doing earlier on, because editing manually like this and using all the tools is actually the biggest beginner mistake like ever. It will actually cost you hours of your life that you'll just never get back, because it's just such a slow method of editing. I'm using Q and W to trim out all the shaky B-roll parts, but if you want to automatically trim out all the shaky parts for you in one click, then seriously, I really do recommend that auto edit B-roll trimmer. This thing is godsend. Like, saves me so much time because I can just go over here, I can import my B-roll clips, I can select literally however many B-roll clips that I want, and then automatically it'll trim out all the blurry and shaky parts for me and create a timeline selects of just good usable B-roll, right? Because that's all we want. We just want the good usable B-roll. We don't want the shaky parts. We don't want the blurry parts. Anyways, all with that said, once you have your timeline of your B-roll selects, to edit them to the actual main timeline, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag my main timeline below the B-roll selects like this. So in that way I can see my B-roll selects on top, and then I can see my actual editing timeline below it. And now this workflow is super easy because I can see what's on top and on the bottom. If you want to unlink the audio from your clip as well, you can do that by selecting everything and hitting Command L. Now our audio is unlinked. And then what I'm going to do is, let's say I want this clip right here to be right around here, right when he says in the studio. So I'm going to drag and drop it from this timeline literally to this timeline below it. That's the power of pancake editing. So like right here where he says in the studio, I want a scene of the studio to show. So he's going to say Awesome, there we have it. We have some B-roll integrated into our shot. Now my rule of thumb is 25%. I like to have 25% of my music video B-roll because I feel like it enhances the video enough. You still want to have a lot of performance shots, but every quarter, every now and then you should see a random B-roll shot, or not random, but like incorporated B-roll shot. So like, for example, when he said in the studio, we showed that clip. Maybe he's talking about his car. So we're going to go find a B-roll clip of his car, whatever. You get the point. And then you literally just take it, you cut out all the shaky parts, and then whatever B-roll shots you want, you just go select it on your B-roll timeline and drag and drop it onto the layer below, and just repeat that process for your entire music video edit. Like I said, 25% is my rule of thumb. You can of course be an artist with it, adjust it to however you like it, but that's just how I add B-roll to my clips. Now it's time to move on to the third and final step of music video editing, which is modulation. Now by modulation, what I mean the visual effects, the cool stuff, all the fun color grades, the effects, the overlays, whatever you see, the things that just make the music video pop. Now we have a full 10-minute long tutorial on how to add visual effects to your videos inside of Premiere Pro, but in this video I'm just going to be going over a quick base overview of like some visual effects tips that I wish I knew when I was starting out editing music videos. The first one of them being adjustment layers. So adjustment layers are key to adding effects and color grades. The reason being so is because it's a non-destructive form of editing where it lets you edit not the clip itself, but a arbitrary layer that applies and contains all the effects. So I'll show you what I mean. You go over here to your media composer bin, and then you click this little new icon item right here, and then you can create a new adjustment layer just like this. And I'm gonna hit OK. I'm gonna drag and drop it onto my timeline, and as you can see, nothing happened. Don't worry. All you have to do is now you can apply these effects to your adjustment layer. So let's say I want to change the color grade. I go over here to the Lumetri color panel, and maybe I'm trying to, make this cooler, this scene a little bit blue and colder. Instead of clicking on this clip directly and adjusting the temperature, I am going to select this adjustment layer and adjust the temperature. And the cool thing about this is, what if I decide, oh, I don't like that color grade anymore? I can just delete the adjustment layer and then the clip is back to normal. So that's the power of adjustment layers if this is your first time using Premiere Pro, but I highly recommend them. And there's a bunch more stuff they can do, like overlays, camera shakes, and a lot more. I'll actually show you really quickly on the auto edit plugin what it lets you do. So let's go back to our main auto edit sequence. I'm going to drag it down over here so you can see what we're working with. This is our timeline, right? This is our music video timeline that it automatically edited for us. Now let's add some visual effects. So instead of having to create that adjustment layer from scratch and then add effects to it, as you can see, there's this little visual effects icon. Click on it and I click AI, and now I can check off any effects that I want. So let's say I want some film burns and I want some camera shakes, and I want it to apply to about like 80% of my music video. All I do is I click the add visual effects, and automatically it instantly applies these effects to our timeline on the topmost layer. So then that way, once we play it out, I'm just gonna let it load until it's done. It says working, please wait. Boom, just like that, it is added visual effects. Now you can see if we play it out, we have a bunch of camera shakes, we have film burns, we have a lot of our effects automatically applied to our video. And so then that way, all that we have to do is just go in and tweak and change whatever we don't like. So this really saves me a lot of time. As you can see back there, there was a bunch of different effects types. There's 3D objects. Maybe if you like CRT effects, you can do that as well. So let's add some CRT. You can see it's automatically applying those CRT effects to our video. Now we have some crazy looking CRT effects going on right here. Honestly, this is just super cool, the fact that I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't drag and drop anything. I didn't have to animate anything beforehand, and just automatically applied it for us. So that's pretty much that. Let me know what you think. But if you don't have auto edit, how do I add visual effects? Now my tip, this is my go-to when I first started off editing, is YouTube overlays. YouTube overlays, king of visual effects back then. So all you have to do is go to YouTube. Let's say I want to add some film burn overlays. I can just go ahead and search film burn overlays just like that. And then of course you'll see a bunch of YouTube videos like this. You can just go ahead and download them off like a YouTube MP4 downloader, or you can just screen record it off your phone screen. And then I just import these on top of my video layer. So for example, let's say if we wanted to do some of those film burns that we saw earlier, once you download the clip and import it onto your timeline, it will look like this, where it is completely black and then there's like the film burn over it. You click on it and then you go to the opacity tab and then you hit blend mode. I'm gonna change this to screen, and then instantly you can see now the film burn is applied to our actual video video and it's like transparent. That's how you add overlays to your video. Now there's a bunch of overlays out there. There's green screen effects, there's floating objects, which I'll actually just show you another demo of really quickly before we wrap things up. Now let's say on YouTube I search for green screen VFX overlay. As you can see, there's a bunch of overlays. You can just go ahead and download these, like I said, off the MP4 downloader. Now let's say you have that green screen effect on your actual timeline over here. You click on your clip, you go to the effects and control panel, which should be over here in this top left hand corner if you're in the standard editing mode, and then you select where it says ultra key and then where it says key color. Click this little eyedropper tool, click the green, and boom, instantly all the green screen on your screen is removed, and then you have 3D visual effects added to your videos. So you can find these downloads linked on YouTube. I used to always search for green screen visual effects overlays when I was starting off editing. They saved my editing workflow. But yeah, there you guys have it, a very simple overview of how to edit a music video start to finish as a beginner. I hope you found something useful. If you want to check out the auto edit plugin, I've linked down to it below. Let me know your thoughts, your suggestions, and if you want to go further with the visual effects and learn 10 new music video effects that you can make inside of Premiere Pro, you can check out this video linked right here.